Okay, here are the rest of the solutions. So for number 13, we know that angle E is congruent to angle H. And we know that side EF is congruent to side HG. And then we know that DE is congruent to IH. So if we look at each of the triangles, we can see that the pieces lie on the triangles as SAS and SAS. So by side angle side, triangle DEF is congruent to triangle IHG. And that is a rotation. Okay, number 14. L and O are congruent. And then angle J and M are congruent. Finally, KJ, and NM are congruent. And if you look at the pieces on the triangle, you've got side, angle, angle, side, angle, angle, or angle, angle, side. Triangle KJL, congruent to triangle NMO, and that is a translation. All right, number 15, QR is congruent to SR. QR and SR are congruent. Then QP is congruent to SP, so QP, SP, those are congruent. And then the side in the middle counts as a pair of sides because it belongs to each triangle. So by the reflexive property of your third pair. And finally in the end, side, 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 triangle PQR, congruent to triangle SPR, and that's a reflection. Number 16. Angle U and X are congruent. Side TV and VW are congruent. And then these vertical angles right here at V are congruent by the vertical angles theorem. So if we look at each triangle, you'll see that we have parts in the order angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side. So by angle, angle, side, triangle TUV is congruent to angle WXV. And that is a rotation. Okay, the next part is to find out what's missing. So when I look at number 17, I start out knowing that these two sides are congruent. So I've got the side taken care of. These two sides were marked congruent. So what's missing is the third pair of sides. So that would be side CA congruent to NL. Number 18. We've got a pair of sides marked congruent, and we also can assume this pair of angles are congruent, which happens to be right adjacent to it. So the S and the A right next to each other. We need to pick a pair of angles then for AAS that would make S not included, because it doesn't say ASA, it says AAS. So that means I would choose angle X congruent to angle I. Number 19. We're looking at hypotenuse leg. Well, the pair of legs are this shared side right in the middle there. So it's the pair of hypotenuses that's the missing information. So that would be UT has to be congruent to VP. And for 20, I have a pair of angles marked congruent, a pair of sides marked congruent. So the other pair of angles that makes this angle side angle is what's missing. So that would be angle HUV congruent to angle WUV. Okay, go ahead and get started on your notes for the next section.